Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Just another damn Donkey Kong Country, huh? Well, you know what? I call some serious bullshit. I have an extensive love for platforming games. 2D, 3D, Mario, Sonic, Rayman, doesn't really matter. Doesn't take a lot of convincing to get me to play a platformer. I also have an extensive love for the Donkey Kong Country series. Difficult platformers with mostly fair levels, whimsical overworlds, beautiful graphics, amazing music, plenty of collectibles to keep you coming back to the game after you beat it, and a fun and lighthearted story about an ape ready to beat a crocodile's ass for stealing his banana hoard. So it leaves a true fan like me baffled when people complain about this game. I mean, the first time, people were really disappointed that Retro didn't make another Metroid Prime and instead were working on another damn Donkey Kong Country. And then for the Switch port, there was the whole $60 port pricing debate. Then there was Nintendo removing the $20 digital variant off of the Wii U eShop, which, I mean, granted, it's kind of beating a dead horse. I mean, the Wii U was already, in its grave by that point, but, I mean, I'm not gonna hold any punches, Nintendo. That's low. That's pretty scummy, dude. I mean, you know I love you, but that's low, man. So what's the deal with this game, huh? How's the actual game? I mean, we've seen time and time again games with initially poor press or initial bashing have eventually gained their cult followings, and once we started playing the game for what it was, we started having fun with it. So is this game the same deal? Well, you know what? Today I plan on finding out. This is my review of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And why did I choose to tackle this game instead of the original trilogy or Donkey Kong Country Returns first? Because the title of the game has a word associated with winter in it, so we're doing it. Honeybee tree? More like... stupid. Let's get one thing out of the way. I'm playing the Wii U version of this game, but what I say more or less applies to the Switch version as well, except the haha new funky mode, which for all intents and purposes is the easy mode. The content is the same in both games aside. So, without further ado, let's begin with the story. Donkey Kong and his family are celebrating Donkey Kong's birthday until a small, unusual breeze sweeps in and freezes over his entire home island. You know, the usual winter routine for the Kongs. DK and company are then blown to God knows where, and it's their mission to get back home and to save their home turf from eternal freezing. This was the doing of the Snowmads, who were just feeling imperial that day or something, because their motivations are never explained. In fact, they never speak, so the only comment I can make about them is that they're designed very well and always physical. Being cool but legitimately threatening at the same time, and sometimes just being damn adorable. Look at this guy, he's so cute! You make your way from island to island to return back home and overthrow Lord Frederick, the king of the Snowmads. DK and the gang win, unsurprisingly, and unfreeze their island and party like there's no tomorrow. So, big surprise, the story's simple. Who cares? It's a platformer, it's not a Shakespearean novel. We all come to expect this from platformers nowadays. We have actually important aspects to talk about, and let's begin with the visuals. Holy shit. This game is gorgeous. The color palette, the textures, the frame rate, the details, the animations, and the character designs, they're all on point. My eyes are being cleansed in holy waters every second I look at this game. This is a gigantic upgrade from Returns. Not a bad looking game for 480p by any means, but it pales in comparison to this masterpiece of art. This looks like little Timmy's drawing of the Mona Lisa that mommy put up on the fridge. Needless to say, the game kills it in this regard, and I'm playing the Wii U version. I can only imagine it looks even prettier on the Switch. The expressions of Donkey Kong and the gang are great as always, with facial expressions being amazingly cartoony and over the top just as they should be. Amazing work in this regard, seriously. But we have all seen how good graphics do not make a good game by default. I'm looking at you, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky? More like LOL XD, bye. Get it? Because the game's... yeah, this is a great script. How does the game play? Which immediately I'm going to bring up that you can choose your controller in this game, which in turn lets you choose if you have motion controls or no motion controls, which Donkey Kong Country Returns sorely lacked and was very much weaker for as a result. So already, we're doing well. This controls identically to Returns, but for those without reference to that game, you move left and right with your basic walk-run combo with your run button on your respective controller. You can use the trigger buttons while running to roll, and while standing still to pound the ground. Pounding is used to take out some enemies with armor or a shield of some kind, and rolling just gives you ridiculous momentum when you go off a ledge, which you can jump out of. It's super fun to use to speedrun through levels, and when you chain the momentum with bouncing off of enemies, It's a thrilling sense of speed that some Sonic games lack at an exceptional level. But it's not a Donkey Kong game without a partner Kong. And in this game, we get Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky, the first game to offer multiple partnering characters, all of whom can be accessed by a Kong barrel found throughout levels, or at the build-up of the boss levels. Each partner offers their own unique bonuses while riding on Donkey Kong's back. Diddy acts as he did in Returns, offering a small period of time where you can hover using his jetpack. Cranky can use his cane to bounce off the spikes hitting the jump button in midair, which can help build height and momentum when chained together successfully. Then there's Dixie. She can use her hair twirl to help DK gain height while hovering, so she's in every way the definitive partner to use. Her hair twirl gives you more height and horizontal distance than Diddy's jetpack, and Cranky is only useful when there's ground beneath you, so Dixie is easily the greatest partner unless you're a speedrunner. But regardless of partner, you can roll with DK infinitely to plow through hordes of enemies, and you can bounce off water if you continue rolling while going on the surface of it. And while underwater, you can spin for as long as you want. Each partner also gets their own unique Team Blast, which serves as a screen nuke for all killable enemies on screen. Turning the enemies into balloons is Diddy, banana coins is Cranky, and turning the enemies into extra hearts which can stack on top of hearts you already had.
I'll be
Dixie, your memes are weak. And this game has unique swimming controls for a 2D platformer. Most 2D platformers often go for an approach involving you moving left and right with the D-pad and ascending by jumping with no option to freely move down until your character stops rising, with no way to defend yourself. Tropical Freeze takes a more unorthodox approach. It decides to let you swim in all directions with a spin attack and a brushstroke to boot. The biggest issue for me personally is how big the turn radius is and how hard it is to turn quickly with accuracy, especially in levels built around swimming with difficult tracking enemies. World 4 is by far the weakest of all the worlds because of the precision the game requires of you that can be flat out unfair sometimes. Take this segment with the squid monster. You have to keep moving forward because you're gonna die upon touching the ink that's rising up. But you also have to be ready to move left and right on a dime because the crumbling cliffside is dropping tons of spiky spheres at you, and you need to evade them while going upwards quickly, which the controls just won't allow for. They just won't. Sometimes DK will just turn directly around, and other times he has to do this whole semicircle thing to even move. And if there's one part of Mario 64 you do not need to remind me of, it is those goddamn semicircles. And stopping yourself underwater is a to get correct. The water levels are the weakest aspect of this game, if you ask me. Not because there's just water, but they're just not very fun. Not designed with the controls in mind, at least not very well in my eyes. It could just be a me thing, but it's an issue I had in my playthrough, thus it's a complaint I have in my review. Partners also have differing effects underwater. Diddy gives your normal swim stroke a jetpacked boost, Dixie can use her hair to have you swim normally faster and fight heavy currents, and Cranky gets a cane attack for your normal stroke. All the Kongs have legitimately good aspects to all of them, and it makes the imbalance between the three less polarizing, since some situations better suit certain Kongs. But the abilities of these three Kongs leads me to one of my biggest issues with this game, how some secrets are only accessible with certain Kongs in your arsenal. The game houses many secret puzzle pieces and secret exits that require you to have a specific Kong, which can make you replay the level over again, or retread old ground to search for barrels, which just really grinds my gears. It's not a huge deal breaker, there aren't tons of secrets with this problem. However, I think it's a lazy way to gate your completion or to kill motivation for finding secrets when there may as well be a door that says, yeah, screw you fam, get Dixie, no boys allowed. Because to me, one of the original trilogy's greatest appeals was the secrets you found, mostly involved careful exploring using barrels or bananas could lead you to hidden paths, and offer fun challenges for you to beat. Mainly just how you could use either Kong to access them. They didn't gate you based on which one you were, at least if memory serves me, it's been a while. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Speaking of secrets, another downside. The secrets in this game aren't very challenging to complete, at least not the bonus games. I think I failed them like single-digit times while 100% completing this game. It's not that they aren't fun to beat or not rewarding to find, but it never felt like the difficulty built off of the previous challenges. More like the game said, here's one with a barrel, I don't know. Maybe some trampolines on this one? Who cares? Also, I feel like they could change up the assets in these areas a bit. The original trilogy did this easily. Could it not have been done here? Because I feel like it should have been. Why do I end up in a cave made of ruins after jumping into a bounce house of balloons? Not a major problem, but some variety would go a long way. But let's get into easily this game's greatest aspect, the level design. This is a 2D platformer after all, and they commonly live or die by their level design. Mario has always been amazing at this, and he's been nailing it from his first to his latest game. The Donkey Kong Country series has also been a fantastic example of this, and this game is no different. This has some of the most thematically complex levels I have ever seen in a platformer, yet lays them out perfectly and develops the ideas of which there can be several of per level. If you want to go as in detail as possible, I heavily suggest watching Mark Brown's Game Maker's Toolkit on this game. He makes lots of great videos discussing game design, and if you're a Nintendo nerd... Why do I keep saying... And if you're a Nintendo nerd like me, he goes very in-depth about a lot of Nintendo games mainly. But this game conveys all of its themes and gimmicks so seamlessly, and it never feels formulaic or predictable. Let me lay out for you the design of one of these levels, just to show you what I mean by how well this game is designed. Oh boy, this is going to be a mouthful. Take Frantic Fields, for example. You start the level and observe that there's a strong breeze happening because of the grass in the background, and that's just kind of visual storytelling. Not necessary, but it's a nice indication of changes in the environment. You move forward and come across the main gimmick of the level, leaning platforms, in this case, a tree's comically oversized branch. It leans your way initially to indicate that you can definitely reach that before you've even attempted to do anything else. Next, there's another platform, but this time with a snowman, with some bananas shaking up the idea of it. Then we come across a tornado that you need enough height or momentum to pass through, followed immediately by another moving tornado hovering by a secret puzzle piece. After that, we meet these fiery creatures placed at an easy-to-spot area so you avoid it, and shortly come across the beefed-up walrus, and another tornado. Not immediately important, but we'll see those guys later. You grab Rambi and plow through some enemies on spikes with another tornado to ramp up the pace. Then we come across another tree branch with a moving cyclone and a couple more spikes. We finally come across a new gimmick, these hovering wooden platforms swaying in a counterclockwise fashion, closely imitating the tree branches, followed by lightning that strikes down once you pass the spot, then multiple wooden platforms chained together to develop that gimmick even more. Then a tornado with the wooden platform, windswept enemies coming into the foreground from the background, and then the climax, tree branches and wooden platforms. While dodging the fire enemies, you come across this platform, which falls quickly enough for you to see that it's a timed platform. Later, we get strings of this platform and cyclones. Then it all comes together in the finale of the level. Windswept enemies, the walrus boy, floating wooden platforms hybriding the branches and the platforms previously seen, spikes, and lightning. This is not an exception to the rest of the levels, folks. This is the rule. The level design in this game just gets me wetter than a non-insulated water bottle in the middle of July. It throws all these wacky ideas together, and it's excitingly overwhelming, but for the right reason. The ideas are all previously taught in the level's intro. The game didn't stop you in your tracks to say, "Wow, DK, look at all these branches, wait for them to lean your way to climb on it." No! It shows you. You're allowed to just take it in slowly, or you could blast through it like a boss. If anyone in the next decade is developing a 2D platformer and needs another game to draw inspiration from, this is one game to draw inspiration from. Perfectly laid out so you can take it in slowly, or you can be an epic gamer and push yourself to beat the level faster and faster every time. Chaining rolls together with enemy bounces, blasting through barrels, soaring through levels is one of the most satisfying feelings to get in any game I've played. Absolutely amazing outside of World 4 because LOL XD real gamers hate water. While we're on the subject of perfection, this soundtrack, oh my god, it leaves me speechless. David Wise, what a composer. David Wise decided he'd attempt to make Christ the soundtrack and got about as close as you could possibly manage. Probably one of the most consistently banger soundtracks I've ever heard. I mean, you're giving the Galaxy series some competition. And if I'm talking about a soundtrack in the same breath as the Galaxy series, some of my favorite games of all time, you know it's good. Also, I haven't listened to the whole Persona 5 soundtrack either. Please don't murder me. Comment section. I know it's a good game. I haven't played the game. I don't have a PS4. Please don't murder me. These tracks all have an amazing theme, fitting other levels, and amazing to listen to outside of the game. This is one of those games that just makes me sit still and witness the beauty of some of the songs by just letting the game sit there, while I felt I was encapsulated inside a shroud of heavenly beauty. So, I have a small list of songs that I like in this game for various reasons. This game also does one of my favorite touches involving music. The transition between geographic areas of a level changes the composition of the track. It's a touch we've seen done time and time again, but something about it just makes you feel so much more connected to the world. I'm talking some Banjo-Kazooie type shit. Man, does that give me joy. All bases are covered in this soundtrack. You got your feel-good, optimistic songs. You got your abandoned ambient tracks. You got your remastered old classics. And you've got your hard-ass bad guy music with incredible build-up. Some of these tracks are so good they can make anything sound intense. Thanks, Chief. I'll let the boys know this ain't it. The bosses are a lot of fun as well. Most are challenging but fair and fun, except the water one. Wow, who'd have thunk it? Most of the bosses don't seem to be doing much other than minding their own business sometimes. Like, take this polar bear. He's just eating a popsicle, enjoying the quiet, and then DK comes in like, "Was good!" Makes him lose his snack. I mean, I guess he's working for the Snowmads anywho, and he beat my ass plenty of times, so I guess we're about even. Anyways, the bosses take more than 3 hits, so you get to fight them for longer, but they're generous enough to give hearts and alternative ways to kill the bosses quicker than waiting around for a while. I think bosses become fun to beat when it feels like there's a real challenge or intimidation to them. I think this is where Mario games can fall flat, is that most bosses you fight just don't look like they're capable of beating you. Whereas, take some Zelda bosses or games like Shadow of the Colossus, it feels like you're felling a threat. You risk getting your ass crushed. You drag these enormous monsters down and watch them as they crumble before you. Tropical Freeze meets a happy medium between these two. These bosses look intimidating and they're hard to beat. Once they're dead, you just get to wail on them and watch as DK knocks their ass into next week, which in itself is super satisfying. I have yet to talk about the collectibles in this game. In every level, there are 5, 7, or 9 puzzle pieces hidden, and 4 Kong letters found in every level. The puzzle pieces are difficult to find, but easy to obtain, and once you get them, you have them forever. Whereas Kong letters are often in plain sight, but require you to take heavy risks to obtain them, and if you die, you need to recollect them. Collecting all the Kong letters in a world opens access to that world's K level, or the temple level, if you're going to be anal about it. These are incredibly hard challenges that have puzzle pieces of their own. I'm not kidding, these are probably some of the hardest levels you'll find in the entire series, requiring insane levels of precision, patience, timing, memorization, and skill. Beating one of these levels is on another level of accomplishment from anything else in the game. Completing one of these gets you an ancient relic, which if you obtain all 7 of them, 6 from the main worlds, 1 from completing the story mode, you gain the secret seclusion world. This world contains 3 extra hard levels that upon completing will give you hard mode. You can choose any of the 4 Kongs to play as solo, with 1 hit and no checkpoints. Great! I didn't bother playing this or the time trial since I get the gist of this and I can't imagine the reward is worth the amount of effort I would likely have to put into it. It's there if you want it, obviously, but I had my fill on the game personally, so I didn't experiment much with it. So there you have it, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. One of the best platformers that we have gotten in the past decade. Definitely up there with the likes of Mario, Shovel Knight, and Rayman. Retro Studios proved that Donkey Kong Country definitely holds place among the platformers of modern day. And I really hope that once we see what the hell Retro Studios is doing with Metroid Prime 4, I hope we can maybe get a third game in the modern Donkey Kong Country series to maybe get a second trilogy completed of amazing platformers, but we'll have to see. That poor initial reception might scare Nintendo from putting that much effort behind a Donkey Kong game again. But if we really are stuck with just these 5 games, that's perfectly fine with me because they all hold a perfectly special place in my heart. I've been Troy the Ninja Toad. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for watching my content this year. It means a lot to me. This year I really wanted to try something new. I wanted to make content that I felt proud of, content that I could look back on and see growth in. And I think this year I've made, I didn't upload very consistently, but, I think I got done what I wanted to get done. I've been having a lot of fun making what I've been making. While I may not be, the most efficient editor in any capacity, it's still fun. I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing right now. In the new year, I hope to get some more fun stuff done before life inevitably gets super busy and I don't have much time to do it. But hopefully I will, but we'll have to see. I hope to get even better at what I'm doing, and I hope above all that it's enjoyable to watch. Some personal thank yous. Thank you to @TrueDysfunction, Sticker Slurm, Albareo, Flaming Kong, McButternugget, Dragon Lolly, and anyone else who watched my videos this year. You guys have been especially supportive of me this year, and I appreciate the feedback more than you could possibly know. I hope 2019 is a strong year for this channel. I'm excited to get even better at what I'm doing. And just above all, thank you guys. Thank you for being the audience of voices that I can talk to, and the people who can help me get better at what I've always wanted to do. And above all, thank you for just sticking through the growing pains with me in terms of, getting good at creating content. Doing this has been extremely rewarding, and I hope to do it even more in 2019. And I'm ready to have some fun with it. I'm going to hope to get better at my craft. I'm going to hope to master it. I'm going to hope that I can add a creative spin to it maybe. But at the end of the day, just thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you guys have happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. You guys are awesome. Have a great one.